welcome back to Mornings on Main Street. As we told before the break, a very special event happening at the Hermitage on this weekend as they commemorate the Battle of New Orleans. Let's bring in a guy that I admire so much, the president and CEO of the Andrew Jackson Foundation. That just sounds good. Howard Kittell joins this morning. Howard, how are you, sir?
I am great. Big Joe, it is so good to see you again.
Yes, and not at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, one has to adapt.
That's exactly right. I tell people that I know that one day my final job will be working at the Hermitage because I love history and I love what you guys do. And I just love everything that goes on at the Hermitage over there. So much to see and do. It never gets old. It's so exciting to go over there. And this weekend, you guys commemorate the Battle of New Orleans, which was a huge thing for our country, led by Andrew Jackson. You guys are honoring the former president, of course, all day tomorrow.
That is correct. We have been doing this annual ceremony since 1915, the centennial of the Battle of New Orleans. So we have our own centennial plus tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 207th anniversary of the battle.
Wow, it seems like it was just yesterday, Howard, that goes on over there.
That's right.
That is happening. All right, so for people to come out tomorrow, we're going to share the screen here in just a second. This is a free event to come out and see the grounds of the Hermitage, correct?
That is correct. The ceremony is at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. It may be by his tomb. It may have to be inside, depending on the snow and how much we can clean off. But there will be a ceremony, and there'll be a wreath laying ceremony at Jackson's grave at some point. You can explore the grounds for free. We've got War of 1812 reenactors who will be out there in costume to talk with our guests. There'll be activities for children in our education center. So we've got a good day planned, and of course, shopping in our incomparable gift shop.
Oh, it's beautiful out there. And I love the fact of the museum that you guys got there with the chariot that the president rode in to go to DC and all that. There's so much there. And I got to think, Howard, with you being there, it's also the same way. You're always, here and there discovering little cool things that happen that went on. That's the beauty of getting to go out and see this, I would believe so.
Oh, absolutely. There's always something. Well, we discover something new all the time that we then weave into what we present to the public. So there's always some interesting nuance. And the fact is, we all love stories. And history is really just organized storytelling. So, come out and enjoy a story. I mean, we've got tons of them. And some of them are so Jacksonian, you just can't find them anywhere else.
Well, I love, of course, the one about his parrot at the funeral.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Andrew Jackson owned this African gray parrot named Paul, P-O-L-L. And who, he was around his owner quite a bit and managed to pick up his owner's rather colorful vocabulary.
Right.
So the day of Jackson's funeral, the funeral was at the Hermitage. The coffin was laying on the front porch or set on the front porch of the mansion, and there were about 5,000 people on the front lawn. I mean, literally half of Nashville came out to this funeral. And Paul had been put out on the upper balcony to catch the breezes. And he got so upset at all of these people in his front yard that he cut loose with a string of epithets, such that the minister couldn't begin the funeral until someone went upstairs, took Paul in his cage, and put him in a back bedroom where he couldn't be heard. I mean, this is so Jacksonian. Even after,
I love the story. I absolutely love this story.
It's just one of many that we have, because Jackson was such a colorful and irascible character.
Absolutely. Howard, let me ask you, why is it important to keep, educating us about an event like the Battle of New Orleans?
Well, a number of reasons. One, it was an important battle in the course of American history. There are some historians who say it was one of the most important battles in American history. It did solidify America's strength in it, or belief in itself. Clearly, it saved New Orleans, which was a critically important city in the economy of our country and in the security of our country. So winning the battle rescued New Orleans. And it sent a signal to European nations that we were a country that was here to stay. They had to deal with us. But it also was winning that battle that took Andrew Jackson from being a well-known, prominent Tennessean onto the national stage and ultimately into the presidency in 1828. So you begin to see these stepping stones when you look backwards in time. You can't project this is going to happen. But when you look back, you see how one thing leads to the next. And I think that's one of those connecting the dots. One of the fascinating things about history is that we can look back at how one thing precipitated the next. And clearly the Battle of New Orleans was that key stepping stone for Jackson and our nation.
Oh, and I totally agree. And I love the history that goes on. And Howard, I got to tell you, this last summer I was out there because I try to go 3 times a year to the Hermitage. And last year when I was out there in the parking lot, I'd like to look at license plates and see where people are. It was very encouraging, Howard, to see that there were more cars from Tennessee. This is for me, for Tennessee in the parking lot than other states, because that means more people moving here, I think, and exploring what I think is a very special place in our area. So that made me feel good to see that more people around here, because, I've only been to the Grand Ole Opry twice. I've lived here my whole life, and it's an iconic place. And I'd like for people to understand just how iconic, how important the Hermitage is. So it was really cool to see all these Tennessee license plates there. And there were other cars from, of course, around the country. But for me, it's really special to see all that.
Well, we see it too. And we're very grateful for it. We really have wanted to increase our local visitation as well as our national visitation. And so I do the same thing you do. People will see me wandering the parking lot looking at the license plates.
Also, my son was a docent out there for one day.
A junior docent, yes.
He had the time of his life.
That's wonderful. Well, again, having young 4th graders primarily come out to be a junior docent, it connects them to history in a very tangible, visceral way. They're really experiencing it, but they're being part of it too and helping to tell the story.
Oh, it was great. He was on the back side of the mansion and would make sure people wiped off their feet with that little concoction there for the mud and everything. And he would have been your best employee, Howard.
Well, hey, you guys come out. You can be a father-son team. We'd relish having you there.
I'd be the worst employee too, because I would just wander off looking at stuff and reading things and take the audio tour, and you'd never see me again. I'll do all that. Howard, thank you for your time. I think the world of you and for what you do, for everything for the Hermitage. It's really special. It's an honor to have you on the show today, and I hope we have a nice crowd out there tomorrow.
Oh, we do too, and we'll give everyone a good show. In fact, right, Secretary of State Trey Hargett is going to be the speaker.
Oh, that's a big deal tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's well done. Howard, thank you. We'll continue promoting the Hermitage as much as we can. Again, I love what you do, and thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Big Joe. Take care. Be well.
All right, yes, sir. Howard Kittell is the president and the CEO. It just sounds good. The president and the CEO of the Andrew Jackson Foundation. And again, I tell you, tomorrow, if it clears out a little bit, get over there and see the Hermitage, the free grounds passes, and to see everything. If you've never been, you need to go to see that. It's just in our backyard to go over there and see that and have a good time with that. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, our good friend Chase McCabe from ESPN 102.5 The Game will join us. Big weekend of sports. The Preds are on a roll. The Titans are on a roll. The national championship game's coming up on Monday. Lots to talk about with Chase. He's next. You're watching Mornings on Main Street.